Hello everyone, my name is SiC and welcome to another Warhammer painting tutorial video. Now, I've done Space Wolf painting before, but today we're just going to focus on this particular pattern that you see in front of you, which is a Flecktarn pattern, which is my personal favorite camouflage in the real world, and I figure it would suit quite well for some of the more stealthier units that the Space Marines can now have. So we're going to start with a different model. This one is already finished and I did it a while ago, but I still needed to finish his squad mates. So, introducing squad mate number 2. Now, as you can see, I fully painted this guy up. Everything is ready except for the cloak, and I have base coated that using a layer paint actually called stealthier fur. Now, that is quite a thin paint. It is supposed to be a little bit translucent. And yeah, I had to give it a couple of coats to make it really a proper base coat to start working off of. But then I move on to Rhinox hide, and for that, or with that, we are going to start the first little pattern, which is basically almost like a normal pattern camo. I just start putting random splotches everywhere. Now, of course, as always, do thin down your paints a little bit. I added a little bit of water here. And now I just start making a random pattern all over the place. And yeah, random, the more random it is, the better it will be. We are going to use several colors throughout this creation of the pattern. I have 4. Stealthier fur is of course the first, then we have Rhinox hide. I also used 2 different kinds of colors of green, but I'm just going to continue on my way here and I'm going to create random spotches all over the place. And of course, we should not forget about the inside of the cloak as well. Something that is quite easy to do, but it is noticeable when you look at the model up close. Now, with the first layer in place, as you can see right here, it is time to move on to the next color, which is Lauren Forest. Now, this is a kind of dark green color, and this is also a layer paint. So, when you apply this paint, of course, as always, thin it down a little bit, but it is going to be a little bit translucent. So you're going to have to go back and add a second coat to all the splotches you're making. Next up we have War Boss Green, which is another layer paint, so it is going to need another 2 coats, or maybe 3, depends on how thin, of course, or how much you thin down your paint. But basically it's the same process. We're going to add random splotches all over the place, covering up as much as possible of the stealthier fur. Now, it is fine actually to also go over the other previously established colors. So go over the brown a little bit, go over the dark green a little bit, but randomly. Everything needs to be random, and that's very important about this pattern. Now, with all the basic colors in place, I decided to go back to a little bit of Rhinox hide and create more random spotches, but going through the previously established colors as well. So a little bit through the green, well, because right now the pattern isn't very chaotic, and Flecktarn is a very chaotic looking paint, or not paint, but camo pattern. So you need a lot of little spotches all over the place. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm just creating a bunch more random patterns. After that is done, I switch to my extra small artificial layer brush and I continue with the Rhinox hide. And this time I'm making small little dots all around the previously established splotches or groups of color. So basically wherever you see a big brown splash of color, I'm going to go in a circular motion around that spot and I'm going to add little dots all over the place. Now sometimes I can go several dots away from the bigger splotch, but most of the time I try to stay a little bit close, and in this way I work my way around the entire model. As you can see, it makes a huge difference. Now, with the brown spots in place, it is time to switch back to Lauren Forest and do the same process again, but this time with the green. And we're going to focus on all the dark green areas, and we're going to stipple all around the dark green areas, making sure to put little dots on the Tuscarora foyer, on the Rhinox hide, within the light blue green, or light blue, in the light color green, basically all over the place in a circular motion around the dark green spotches again. And finally, we repeat the process with Warboss green, going around all the light green spotches. Now finally it is time to go back to Tuscarora fur, and with that we are going to create random splotches on all the other colors, on all the dark brown, on all the dark green and all the light green. This is very important actually, because for some reason it is very noticeable to the human eye if you don't do this. For some reason you kind of notice all the little dots of the other color, and then you kind of notice that the Tuscarora fur does not have that, and that's not great. So to tie everything together, a bit of Tuscarora fur in random places all around the model. To further tie all the colors together, it is time for Agrax Earthshade to work its magic. So just straight out of the pot, I'm taking brushfuls of it and I'm applying it liberally all around the model. One thing to keep in mind with these washes is that because they are so thin, they can run down and pool in some of the more deeper crevices. And when you notice a very dark pool forming, just like you could see there just before, you want to take that away, because that's going to dry up hard and it's going to make a big mess of your paint job. So just move your brush back there, divide it along the rest of the model, or just brush it off on a piece of paper. Now, as you can see, it has darkened the model down quite a bit, but all of the colors now look like they kind of belong together, like it's part of the same fabric rather than, I don't know how else to describe it really, but it looks much better to my eye anyway. Now the final thing to do here is, because these are space wolves of course, I'm going to take some Valhalla Blizzard, which is a texture paint. It's not really, yeah, I guess technically it's paint, but it's quite thick and it is supposed to simulate snow. So as you can see, I've taken my texture tool here and I'm applying it all over the base of the model, and I'm rubbing it into the grass patches that I have applied before. And another thing that I wanted to do here was, because I wanted to show the patience of a sniper, right? And the space wolves are of course famous for their hunting skills. They are of course described as hunters. They are the hunters of heretics after all. So I wanted to show that they are very patient, and to do that I figured that these guys, you know, is going to be stable and staying in one place for a very long time. So some snow would have collected on top of the more flatter parts of this model. So after I've finished doing the base and the stones and all of that, I take some more Valhalla Blizzard and I start putting it onto his shoulders, on the top of the backpack, except for the head, because I figure his head would be warm enough to melt the snow, except for the other model that you can see just to the top left or in the top middle of the screen there. That guy is wearing a hoodie, so I am also putting some snow on top of his hoodie. And with that, the model is now complete. And in my eye, it looks awesome. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful to you. Please leave a comment below if it was, or if you just liked it. It really does mean a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for whatever video I do next.